Good morning. We're in a different space today, and that's because most of the stories that I've been telling you are things that have passed. They're from years ago, many of them, and I have one from yesterday. And so while the energy is still kind of high, I thought I would relate it. It is simple. It is certainly not as dramatic as some of the other stories I've told you, but in some ways, the ramifications of it are much more dramatic. I'm over here on the side of the room that you often see behind me and over my shoulder, which is half of my studio. My studio is part of my kitchen over here because it's near the water. And I need water. I make mistakes, and I work with acrylic paint, so I need to be near my water. To my right here is a recent painting that I've started, and it's the result of changes that occurred during the month that I was quite ill. And illness is always an opportunity for transformation, always. I mean, it's what's happening. The body's transforming. And there's actually some scientific evidence that viruses are what has been working on the DNA of the human species. And that viruses are, in fact, making the race what we are becoming. Most people don't think about the fact that we are evolving, but we are. We evolved to here, and we will continue to evolve. So there's a transformative process going on when you're ill, virus or not. And I used my time wisely. I rested but took in a lot of information and allowed a lot of open space, allowed what people might call a meditative mindset. And quite near the end of it, right around the time I made the video from my bed, I realized that my art was going to change, take a turn for the lighter, and it has. Now, to sort of jump here from one stone in the stream to the next, I have a problem with manifesting. I have a problem with people saying, oh, I manifest this, or, oh, why don't you work to manifest that? Manifesting is going on constantly because it is born of who we are. I'm now manifesting. I've just turned over here. I've manifest that turn, and whatever happens when I get there. Manifesting is constant, and if your mind is having something to do with it, you're in some danger. Your mind is not really a reliable source of guidance. Guidance is a reliable source of guidance if you have access to it, to a spiritual sense, but you have to be really careful because your mind is the translator for that. Most guidance, accurate guidance, comes from the physical body. And that's one of the things I've done over the years since 1988 is surrender to the wisdom of my body. I feel it is partially why I am alive here standing talking to you. The body doesn't make mistakes in judgment because the body is an animal thing. So manifesting ideally is born from the body. It's how a bird lands on a wire. That's the ultimate in manifesting. And we have that skill, we have that ability, because it's what we do. It's who we are. However, for most people, it's kind of random. And when their minds get involved, not so random, not always that effective. But, you know, it works. But the very best manifesting just happens. And I will, in a future episode, describe a remarkable and completely unconscious manifestation that occurred. But today, I want to talk about this painting, which is underway. My agreement with paintings now is that I will follow the painting's direction around. The idea comes, I do my best to put it down, to follow the image that has arisen in my brain, and to follow the energy once the paint gets involved, because it's fluid, the paint is fluid. And there's balance to be considered, there's composition to be considered, there's all kinds of technical things to be considered. But my main commitment to the work that decided it wanted to be born through me is to follow the paint around. So yesterday, I was following the paint around. And as you can see, there are some shapes. Wait, I'll get something decent to point with. There are some actual shapes in this thing. There's a four-sided shape, there's a circle shape, there's something that looks like the word "it" up there. That takes some accuracy and skill and paying attention to get those lines right and to get the right. So I was busy following some of the shapes around and laying down what I call color notes. And all of a sudden, my brain shifted gears, and the body was telling me I needed to put down a random patch of color. If you look here, I don't know how well you can see this, but there are some just random splashes of color in here, or color notes. They're not actual full color yet. And the urge from the body was, put a color note down. And I ignored it, because I have a mind. And I was in the middle of doing one of these shapes, one of these very hard-edged geometric kinds of things. And I wanted to finish that. I finished it, and I thought, okay, now I will put down the splash of color. So I turned to my palette, which was over here at the time, to get a brush and a new color. I knew exactly what the color was to be. And when I turned back to the canvas, it was there. I had done nothing. It was there. This is the area where it is currently, somewhat adjusted, because it was there as a big blot of color. Just very, very deep, very dark. I immediately began investigating things. Was it on my hand? Was it on my shoulder? Was it on my sweater? Where could this color have come from? Because I was not painting with that color when I turned over here. I was thinking about it. I turned over here, I turned back, there it was. And after investigating every possibility of where that color might have come from, I realized it just put itself there. It manifest on the painting. Now, this is unusual, to say the least, but not impossible. It happens, and it is really the essence of manifestation. I'm always telling the people that I'm working with, that I'm mentoring or whatever, that manifestation is instantaneous. If something is meant to be, as soon as you think it, it is. And that's it. Because time itself doesn't really exist, just as our concept of space isn't what it seems to be. All of this seems hard, illusion. Time and space is integrated and ephemeral, and therefore, whatever you may think of as the future really doesn't have a schedule and can simply be there. And because this was random, because I ignored the message that I got, the color was going to be there, but without any control on my part. And so just bluff, a big blot of red color. Life is amazing. And if you allow the space and pay attention, like I didn't, and often don't. We don't. Nobody trains us to do this. Nobody trains us to pay attention deeply to our instincts, which are always right and always on target. And if they're really, insistent, and you're really in open space, they will simply happen. You don't even have to make them happen. They happen. So that's it from my alternate reality. If you're just seeing this for the first time, you might want to visit my website, victoriapendragon.com, and check out more strange things. And I love you, and bye.